Hello, this is me, Dwayne Abernathy with 14 Generations Technical Services. And the other day, I was called out to a particular job site for a customer to finish a network cabling job for them. They had hired an electrician to pull the cables, but the electrician did not punch down the cables to a patch panel. So as you can see behind me, there is a total of over 60 Cat6 cables hanging there that need to be terminated to a patch panel. But when I started doing my research and doing a walkthrough of the job site, I noticed that none of the cables are labeled. They're not labeled on this end here that's hanging out the wall here in the data closet, but also they're not labeled on the end where they put the jacks on. So what I have to do, I have to terminate and tone each one of these cables and label them so I know what they are. So first thing I did, I took my toner tracer out and I plugged into one of the insert jacks that the electrician had installed. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to go into the data closet and I'm going to have to tone out every cable until I find my tone. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my toner wand and wave it over every cable in this bundle of cables until I hear my loud tone like a siren, like ding, 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 or it has different tones. But once I find my cable, then I can label it and then prepare to punch it down. So as you can see, I just found my cable. So now, what I'm going to do, once again, I'm going to verify again and make sure it's the right cable. Okay? Once I verify the cable, what I'm going to do, I'm going to measure the cable out, the length of my patch panel, so I can have enough slack so, for service in a future date. So once I measure my cable out, I'm going to cut off the access cable. After I cut off the access cable, what you want to always do, you want to label your cable. Your cable is going to go to a certain port number that's on the patch panel. This is a 48 port patch panel, so it's going to be labeled 1 through 48. So I believe this cable is like cable number 4. So once you label your cable, it's prepared for you to punch it down. So what you do then, you strip off the jacket from the cable and you pull it back to expose the 8 conductors inside of the cable, or the 4 pairs inside your Cat6 cable. Once you separate your 4 pairs inside your cable, you're usually going to see either a string or a plastic conductor inside the cable with your pairs. What you do, you cut off that string and you cut off that plastic piece inside of the cable, and then you start laying your cables out onto your patch panel by the color code, which there's 2 different type of color codes. There's 568A and there's 568B. 568B is the standard punch down color code that you would use on most networks. There are some 568A networks out there, but this particular network is going to be 568B. So you follow the color code for 568B when laying out your cable onto the patch panel. As you can see, I have each pair inside of my Cat6 cable going to its proper color code on the patch panel. And once again, this is the 568B wiring color code. Now I'm going to grab my punch tool and cut off all the excess cable on each pair. The little wire that's hanging above the patch panel, I'm going to cut it off with my punch tool. Okay, sometimes when you punching your wire down, sometimes there's some excess wire there. You need to take some little needle nose pliers and pull off the excess wire. Now, as you can see, how clean and how neat it is once the wires from the pairs are punched down with your punch tool. And you want to double check to make sure that they are going to the proper slot on the patch panel for that particular color code. Okay, so once I punched down all the cables, once again, it was a total of 69 cables on this particular job site. I punched down all 69 cables, I labeled them all, and then I also labeled my patch panel. After I punched all the cables down to the patch panel and labeled the patch panel, I had to go to each insert jack that the electrician had already installed and label each jack to go with the port number of the patch panel. For example, say for instance if it's port number 1 on the patch panel, then I will go to that jack that I had already identified and label it number 1. Well, that's it for this project. We identified Cat6 cables that were not labeled. We toned them back to the data closet. We labeled them, punched them down to the patch panel, and we also labeled our patch panel, and we also labeled our insert jacks. Well, see you guys on the next project. But if you need any business technical services done, feel free to contact us at 14generations.com. That's the number 14 in the word generations.com. Well, once again, I'll see you guys again next time. This is Dwayne Abernathy, and remember, keep your eyes on the prize.